how about a bit of a challenge tonight?
Okay, what did you have in mind?
In the constellation Pisces, there is a Messier object that is a bit tricky to find, but worth taking a look at. M74. Up for the challenge?
You're on! The first tricky part is trying to find Pisces. The circle is just under the great square of Pegasus. There! Now follow the line, stars east, then north. It should be somewhere along that line. It's gonna be tough, but I'll see if I can get the scope on it.
This month, we will give you a bit of a challenge as we look at two constellations of the zodiac, Pisces and Aries. The deep space objects found there are not very bright, and you probably will have trouble finding many of them in smaller scopes. But with larger scopes, it'll be a fun hunt. If you have a smaller scope, never fear, there is plenty to see and find in your scope too. Plus, Pisces and Aries are fun to try and make out with only your naked eye.
Even though the constellation is famed, Pisces has been known since the Babylonian times as a pair of fish joined by a cord. In the ancient Greek stories, a terrible monster called Typhon was released into the world. Typhon was the father of the Gorgon and the Hydra. He had 100 heads and eyes of fire. He was so tall, he touched the stars. His fingers were 100 deadly snakes. It was the most terrible monster ever, and yet it was the most amazing monster ever. Aphrodite and her son Eros jumped into the river to escape the monster. In one story, 2 fish came to rescue them. These fish were put in the night sky as Pisces. Another story says Aphrodite and Eros turned into the fish and escaped. Just east of Pisces, you will find the constellation Aries, not the Greek god. Aries is the ram. Aries also dates back to the time of the Babylonians. The ram is very important to the ancient peoples as it provided wool and clothing. The Greeks said Aries was the ram with the golden fleece from the story Jason and the Argonauts.
Pisces is a large, long constellation. If you start at the great square of Pegasus, you will find the circlet of Pisces just below the square. This represents the one fish. Follow the line of stars eastward, and then north, and you will come to another circle of stars, which is the second fish. The line of stars between them is the cord tying them together. 1.5 degrees east-northeast of the star Eta Piscium, you will find M74. M74 is a magnitude 10 spiral galaxy. Since it has a low surface brightness, it is hard to make out in smaller scopes unless you have dark skies. With telescopes larger than 4 inches, you can make out the spiral arms as we see the galaxy face on. Located 30 million light-years away, it contains about 100 billion stars. Another magnitude 10 galaxy found in Pisces is NGC 488. Again, it is a challenge for a small scope. In amateur scopes, it will appear as a blue disk. It is located 90 million light-years away. And if you have a scope able to pick up an 11 magnitude galaxy, check out NGC 520, just to the south of NGC 488. It is actually 2 galaxies merging into one. Like Pisces, Aries also has some nice galaxies to find. But again, these are faint and not easy to find, especially in a smaller scope. But for those with larger scopes, take on the challenge. NGC 772 is a magnitude 11 galaxy. It is a spiral galaxy, about twice the size of the Milky Way. If you have a 6-inch or larger scope, you should be able to make out the spiral arm. Aries contains a 2-for-1 in the galaxy hunt. You should be able to get both NGC 678 and NGC 680 in the same field of view. These are 12 magnitude galaxies, and they appear to be interacting with each other. Some other over 12 magnitude galaxies in Aries includes NGC 697, NGC 972, NGC 1156, and NGC 695. Happy hunting! Now, don't go thinking that all is lost for smaller scopes. There are plenty of brighter objects to be found. For example, this month heralds the arrival of the Pleiades into the evening sky, just to the east of Aries. The famous Seven Sisters, the Pleiades are visible with the naked eye and look really cool in small scopes or binoculars. And for a nice galaxy to view with a small scope or binoculars, find M31, the Andromeda Galaxy. It's found in the constellation Andromeda, just north of Pisces. Now, let's take a look at some of what we can find in the southern hemisphere. This month, we take a look around the constellation Tucana.
There are no myths associated with Tucana. Tucana is too far south to be seen from the northern hemisphere, so the ancient Greeks and Babylonians never saw it. It was named in the year 1603 by Dutch explorers. It represents the toucan, a colorful South American bird. Tucana is one of the several constellations in the area named after a bird. Grus represents a crane. Phoenix, which we told you all about last month, represents the magical bird that rises from the ashes from the fire. And Pavlo represents the peacock.
Tucana contains a galaxy that is easy to find. Just look up towards Tucana and you will see the incredible Small Magellanic Cloud. The Small Magellanic Cloud is a dwarf galaxy to the Milky Way. It contains hundreds of millions of stars and is located just 210,000 light-years away. So no matter what size scope you have, you can surely spend many a night observing it. Right next to the Small Magellanic Cloud, you'll find a nice globular cluster, NGC 104, also known as Tucana 47. It is a magnitude 4, the second largest globular cluster in the night sky, and easily visible with the naked eye. But get a scope or binoculars on it and you will see quite a beautiful sight. Another globular cluster that can be found in a smaller scope is NGC 121. It has a magnitude of just under 10. Two more globular clusters can be found inside the Small Magellanic Cloud, NGC 290 and NGC 265. They are spectacular to find.
Now let's see where the planets are this month. Mercury will be in the morning sky at the beginning of the month, but by the mid-month it will not be visible.
Venus will not be visible this month.
Mars can be seen just after sunset moving through the constellation Sagittarius.
Jupiter is between Cancer and Leo and can be seen from about midnight until sunrise.
Saturn will not be visible this month.
Uranus is in the constellation Pisces and visible all night long.
Neptune is in Aquarius and will be visible all night long.
Full moon is November 6th and new moon is November 22nd. There is always a lot to find in the night sky. Sometimes you need to give yourself a nice challenge and find some of these smaller, fainter, distant objects. They are tricky to find, but certainly rewarding when you do find them and get a first-hand look at them.
I think I found it! M74. Yes! That's it!
Oh, keep it in the scope. I want to see it.
Oops, I moved the scope. Now you have the challenge to find it. Good luck.
Well, that's mean of you. But then again, I'm up for the challenge. I'll find it.
Until next time, everybody, happy stargazing!
Check out our other episodes in the Let's Explore Astronomy series at www.tedcookproductions.com/LEA.
You will find all kinds of cool astronomy topics there.
Hey, give a shout out to our sponsors, without whom we would not be here. Visit their websites and partake of their services and products. A big thank you to the Yukon Department of Tourism and Culture and Westmark Hotels, Westmark Whitehorse.